Hello, welcome to a second chance. My name is Philip Jones. I got my brother, Mr. Tifiro Cook. Before we get into what we're doing today, just want to say thanks to everybody that's been supporting us over these past months. We greatly appreciate it. Want to say happy 8-year liver transplant anniversary to Howard Jones. He was on our show maybe about a month ago or so, and so he's 8 years post transplant for a liver transplant. Great dude. Known this man for about 3 years now. Real outstanding cat. I appreciate him. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Mr. Cook kind of just let everybody know kind of what we get into today, and then we'll get started. Mr. Cook, take it away.
So what we're doing right here is when I got my kidney transplant, National Geographic did a documentary on me. They followed me in the hospital for over close to almost 60 days in the hospital every night. And when I was sick and everything, they followed me from Columbus, Ohio to Johns Hopkins University for this incompatible transplant. It was at the time, it was the 6th one ever done. So this is a pretty, monumental thing at the time, and we're starting to see it more often and everything. And I was one of the patients at the time when I got my transplant from Johns Hopkins. And so National Geographic did a documentary on me. And like I said, they followed me for 60 days. First, I thought it was going to be cool and everything until, you wake up sick as I don't know what from doing so many things of plasmapheresis and everything. And they still got the cameras in your face. So I thought it was cool until you start getting sick on camera and everything. So, but it's a very, very detailed. It's very, very educational. A lot of people who have transplants for the second time, we build up antibodies in our body. And it explains what the antibodies are. It explains that if you have high antibodies like I did, putting a normal organ in your body will be counterproductive, because the antibodies in your body would attack that kidney or attack that organ, heart, lung, liver, pancreas, whatever it may be. So this is describing it in a real thorough way. And I was one of the people in this documentary. So Phil, take it away.
Yes, sir.
This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
A bodybuilder from Ohio.
That's a big dog. Pump it up.
A sick father from Alaska. A devoted friend. Will all put their lives in the hands of a team of pioneering doctors. For a kidney transplant as complex as it is precarious. 3 donors give to total strangers. 6 surgeries. Almost 100 specialists. 1 shot.
Where the hell is that happening?
For scores of kidney patients each year, these are the halls of last resort.
We are the final stop for most of these patients. Most of the patients have been told they'll never receive a transplant. So they come here with a tremendous amount of hope because suddenly they found out that there's somebody who may be able to help them.
Another day at the gym for personal trainer Tifiro Cook and his workout partner.
Oh, yeah.
Tifiro may not look it, but he is critically ill. He has kidney disease. Depends on a machine to keep him alive.
You know, we're working out and being on dialysis. You know, biggest thing is just take one day at a time. Take one workout at a time.
Tifiro has a donor who's willing to give him a working kidney. But like thousands of pairs around the world, they don't match biologically, and a direct transplant is impossible. And yet, Tifiro is preparing for the unimaginable.
This is the last workout with my homeboy over there, Barry, before I go get surgery.
A transplant.
Pump it up. Come on. That's it. Last workout. Last one, best one. That's what you say. Last one, best one. Here we go. Last one, best one, dog. Ain't gonna work out again for 3 months, baby. 3 months. Dang, 3 months. You might want to get some extra in. Yes.
When I get back and I see him, they ain't gonna do nothing but motivate me to live hard. Like, okay.
Hang in there, man.
Yes, sir.
Take it here, man.
Much love.
Love you, dog.
Love you
Peace,
too,
man.
All
All right, man. I catch you. Stay strong.
Yeah.
Peace, man.
Peace.
Tifiro will be traveling to Baltimore, Maryland for a transplant months in the making.
We've got the recipient teams all set.
Dr. Robert Montgomery is the director of the Incompatible Kidney Transplant Program at Johns Hopkins Hospital, where a pioneering team is helping to lead a breakthrough in transplantation.
It stopped, Phil. Phil. Yeah. Yo.
Mr. Cook, you should have kept talking. You were still going live.
Oh, sorry.
No, you good. Sorry about that, everybody. My internet seems to like to stop working on Sundays for whatever reason, along with some other days. But we'll get this started back. Give me 1 second.
We can stop periodically so I can, explain to them if anything comes up that people want to know.
Right. Just, like I said, outside of the question, if you have anywhere you want to stop, just let me know.
Okay. I apologize for that, but my bad.
Oh, you good.
Because it stopped on me. The video stopped.
Right. Yeah, because once I went out, it went out with me.
Okay. All right.
So, you want to play it from yours? That way, if it happens again, it'll still be recording. You can still keep going.
I don't even know how to play it from mine. Play it from what? Like the
because you have the link, right? That you sent me.
I just sent you the text message. I got the link like that, but I don't know how to put it in StreamYard.
Share screen. It should be a thing at the bottom that says share screen, where it says mic, cam, mute.
Yeah, but I just had it on my text message on my phone. I didn't have it in email.
If you email it to yourself, And you just click the link and then share screen through that way on the tab. Sorry, everybody, but we're just trying to get this together just in case we have a drop of signal again. Give us 1 second while we figure this out. Or you want me to email it to you?
I got it. So you want me to play it from mine, right?
Yeah, you can play it from yours. Just go to share, like if you bring it up on your because you're on your laptop, right, or your computer.
I'm on my laptop, but
right.
How do I? Can people
so if
hear me right now?
you just go to your email on your laptop, and then when you open the email, hit the thing, it'll pop up on your internet browser. Then when you go to share, and then it'll be a little message there. Just hit OK. But before you hit OK again on the next screen, hit the box in the bottom left corner that says share audio.
Hold on, you go too fast. I've never done this before. Hold on.
All right, where are you at right now? You just bringing it up?
Yeah, I'm on another screen bringing it up. Hold on. Okay.
All right, let me know when it comes up.
Okay. Can people still hear us?
Yep, we still live.
How are you doing this to me right now?
Hey man, you're not alone.
All right,
all right. So it's up on your laptop, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Continue as Tifiro Cook says. Okay, I got it up on my screen. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Okay, you see where it says share, right? It says share, and there should be a like a monitor right above it with like a cross or something like that inside the monitor.
Okay, hold on. Yeah, it says share screen, right?
There should be a message there. Does it say share audio like in the bottom left corner?
It just says share.
Okay, we'll hit share, and then there should be another message that pops up right after that.
I'm hitting share and nothing's happening.
What's there?
I'm here. It's just saying share. It says cancel, then I hit share. Hold on. Let me try it again, man. Hold on. I can't believe we're doing this right now and it's on.
Yeah, I know. We also didn't think it was gonna happen the way it did. Did it say like share screen and then video file?
It says choose what to share. And it says StreamYard.com wants to share the content of your screen. And so I'm hitting share, but okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. It says Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. It won't let me share. It says Chrome has lost permission to capture your screen. Follow these steps. Hold on. Oh man. I think it might be better off if you just keep on doing it the way you was having it, because I can't do it right with this. I don't understand it.
All right. Hopefully it don't go out again. All right. Sorry about that, but we'll start it over. In case
Don't
anybody.
Start from scratch. Just start from where it's at.
Okay. I think it was like right here. I know it kept going, so.
Yeah, right here.
Oh, I know what I did. Hold on 1 second.
You got to give me a tutorial off camera.
Yeah. It's actually a lot easier than
kidney transplant program at Johns Hopkins Hospital. where a pioneering team is helping to lead a breakthrough in transplantation called paired kidney exchange. It is a complicated surgery that starts with a simple diagram. Donor and recipient pairs that are biologically incompatible come to Hopkins for a kidney swap. The 3 donors give to strangers with whom they are a better match. And in return, their loved ones get a kidney that works for them.
So the donor has A3.
Tifiro Cook and 5 others are part of a swap devised by nurse Janet Hiller and her team.
If we could find him a kidney, it'd be amazing.
These patients come from a database of incompatible pairs.
We're going to cross-match.
The program analyzes blood types, tissue types, and a number of other variables to come up with possible matches. At this point, the operation exists only on paper. Now, Dr. Montgomery and his team have a month to bring together the legions of nurses, surgeons, technicians, and specialists required for the complex surgery. 3 synchronized transplants that all have to happen on one day.
It's a bit like an orchestra. I'm kind of the conductor, and then we have different musicians, and each of them has a task. Each of them has an instrument that they play.
So, let's see. I have 2 of the recipients, and Nikki has 1 of the recipients.
1 month to surgery. Nurse Janet Hiller and her team of coordinators begin the countdown to the 3-way exchange. Only the 6th the team has attempted. The patients will be coming in from all over the country.
Mr. Coughlin, who's from Alaska. Cause of renal disease is lupus.
Mr. Cooklen's donor is Ray Vidic. He will give a kidney to Tifiro Cook from Ohio. Tifiro's donor is Jacqueline Downey. She'll be giving a kidney to the recipient of the 3rd pair, the Matthews, a husband and wife from Virginia who declined to be interviewed for the film. Completing the swap, Mr. Matthews will give a kidney to Troy Cooklen, the other half of the pair from Alaska. In this swap, Tifiro Cook is one of the toughest cases. Nurse Nikki Lawson is charged with his care.
Mr. Cook is a 36-year-old African-American male. He has an AHG titer of 4096.
What?
Yes.
AHG of 4096?
Yes.
That's the highest titer we've had.
Partly as a result of a previous transplant, Tifiro Cook's blood has one of the highest levels of antibodies the team has ever taken on. When healthy, antibodies help fight off infection, but in the transplant, they could kill a new kidney.
He's going to need 12 to 15 or maybe more plasmapheresis treatments.
Tifiro is arriving next week.
So I just want to tell everybody. So titers, again, you heard the narrator say, when your titers are high, it's good for your body because they can fight off infection. They can they're good for you because you have a high immune system, even when you're on dialysis. The challenge with that is when they put a foreign object into you, like a new kidney, what happens is, like, again, that those titers will recognize that as a foreign object and start attacking it. And so that's what he's explaining. He's explaining that. And Phil, you heard me and Alex talking about that.
Right.
Everybody, right. Some people can get transplants and everything and never have high titers. But you know, just like Alex talked about, he has very, very high titers too. And it's a challenge for us to get, you know, kidneys and find kidneys. And sometimes what they have to do is other procedures and stuff. So they're going to start showing another procedure that I had to go through to get a kidney. So go ahead, Phil.
For a grueling 3-week treatment called plasmapheresis to remove the antibodies.
You'll be inpatient.
The success of the treatment is vital. Although the pairs will not meet until after the surgery, all are dependent on the other. If one of the patients drops out, the entire swap collapses. Back in Ohio, Tifiro is just finishing his last dialysis before the trip to Baltimore. For 10 years, the machine has done the job of a working kidney, cleaning his blood of deadly toxins.
Definitely takes a lot out of you. You just have to persevere and keep on going if you want to live and live strong. Good to see you, man. Thanks, man.
Man, I'm glad for you, man. Best of luck to you, man.
Thank you, man.
And all you do, best to you, man. I'm serious.
Thank you, man. I
All
appreciate
right, I
it.
don't want to see you back up in here.
No, you're not.
All right.
Transplant.
Be cool, man. Penn State. It's my dude. Lowe's. I'll holler at you, baby. All right. And I was like, dang, I'm not going to be doing this anymore.
That must be a good feeling.
It really was a good feeling. Like, dang, 10 years. I've been on this for 10 years.
Tifiro's donor is an old friend, Jacqueline Downey.
Jacqueline Downey, she's a blessing to me for sure. I'm a personal trainer, and I was training her in the gym, and she came up to me and told me she wanted to give me a kidney, and it was something that was way out. It's not like someone's giving you a sandwich.
Jacqueline learned that she didn't match Tifiro biologically. They are incompatible, and his body would reject her kidney if it were transplanted directly.
T and I did not take no for an answer. From the moment I said, T, I want to be your donor. And when I found out I wasn't, the next step was I just kept going on the internet, and it just came up. It was called incompatible kidney. And T said when I came in the next day, he knew everything about kidneys and he had never heard about this. And I said, just send all your paperwork in. And we sent it in and we got an interview, and it was on since then.
Although he doesn't know it, Tifiro's kidney will be coming from more than 3,400 miles away, where a pair of old friends have begun their countdown to transplant.
You're listening to Juneau's hometown radio station, KINY Juneau.
Good morning and welcome to Capital Chat. Today we have, a promise being kept by two gentlemen who are in the studio. Just about a year ago, it was October last year, that we had Ray Vidic and Troy Coughlin. Did I say that right, Troy? Both these gentlemen in the studio talking about raising funds for an upcoming transplant. And I got to say, you look real good this year, Troy. You look really good. How you feeling? I'm going to go ahead and start with that question.
I'm feeling okay. I do have my ups and downs.
Over the past year, the small town of Juneau, Alaska has banded together, donating more than $23,000 for Troy and Ray's expenses while in Baltimore.
When you first got in the process, did you automatically feel that you had the guts, I guess, to go ahead and give up a kidney?
You don't make a potentially life-altering decision in a few seconds. It requires for me, it was a lot of thought and a lot of prayer over time. Yeah. And then I all of a sudden the light went on. I said, well, I could help Troy.
I'm Ray Vidic, and I'm a kidney donor, and I've decided to give my kidney, my spare kidney, to my friend Troy Coughlin. Troy and I are both in Juneau. We're as far away from Johns Hopkins University as almost as physically possible in the United States. Without what Hopkins is doing, Troy wouldn't have a chance. He'd be on dialysis the rest of his life.
Living on dialysis can be a harsh reality. The treatment keeps you alive, but causes blood pressure to drop, sapping energy. Tethered to a machine 3 days a week makes holding down a full-time job, travel, a normal life, a difficult challenge. And life expectancy is half of what it would be with a transplant.
That we're in a position today where Troy and I can go to Baltimore and I can donate my kidney to him, even though it doesn't match. So what has Hopkins given me? They've given me an opportunity to give something to a friend.
Three weeks to transplant.
Mary Jo Transfusion Medicine is online.
At Johns Hopkins, the countdown continues.
Nelson 7.
The floor of the hospital called Nelson 7 is gearing up for the upcoming swap. Nearly 30 patients can be on the bustling ward at any given time. A temporary home for anyone getting a transplant at Hopkins.
Nelson 7.
Nelson 7. Nelson 7, Mrs. Thomas, how may I help you? Ooh, somebody does not like to talk to me this morning. Not good.
Today, there's a new arrival.
Hey, what's up?
Tifiro Cook.
I'm still in the room. Everything's just up in the air. I'm just waiting on right now.
And as nurse Nikki Lawson is quickly learning, no amount of planning can prepare for the actual arrival of the patients.
Tifiro is a bit different than I would say the majority of my patients because he is still very, very active in terms of his life and in his lifestyle.
First thing they did was tell me to put on that little gown. Here it is, right? So as soon as I get like, all right, put this gown on. I'm like, nah, I ain't putting no gown on. I'm fine. Now, when my transplant come and everything, hey, I'm gowned up.
I got kind of a panicky call from him yesterday at home after he was admitted, and he saw what he called those 4 walls, and he said, I don't think I can do this. You know, that kind of slaps you in the face as the clinician because, you know, you feel like, well, didn't I explain this to you, and didn't we go over all of this, and I thought you understood. Knock, knock.
Good morning.
Hello.
How are you?
You probably don't even know who I am. Are you the one he was fussing at last night? How are you feeling?
I'm gonna pause it real quick. It's funny, man, because I'm the same way when it comes to that gown. And when I have to, go to the emergency room or whatever, and like you said, that's the first thing they tell you is, hey, put on this gown, back open. And I'm like, yeah, that gown ain't going on right now. I'm like, if I gotta go to, X-ray or something, then I got you. You ain't got no problem. If I gotta, or when if when it comes to IV, because my IV situations can become, a bloody situation sometimes. I'm like, cool, no problem. But if I'm just sitting there, especially because I'm anemic, so I get cold, so I'm like, me sitting here in this gown is not going to be the best thing for me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and wait. Y'all just, when you really need it to be on, you let me know and I'll put it on.
Man, yeah. My thing about the gown, man, is I was in the hospital at this time, for over 60 days. Now, I've been in the hospital more than that. And I always got to keep my mind focused on health and keeping my mind healthy. And I can't sit around in that gown all day. Because I don't never put the gown on until they got surgery. That's whenever I got surgery, I do the gown. When you see me doing dialysis, you see me doing any other procedure, I never put a gown on because to me, the gown symbolizes that I'm sick. And so I got to keep my mind in the frame. The frame of my mind is always, I'm healthy. I'm healthy. I'm healthy. So, they try to tell me, as soon as I get there, put that gown on. And I was like, look, I got to keep my mind real stable and focused on me being healthy, and walk around this place with a gown on. That ain't happening. So every day I would get up, and this is, close to over 60 days. I would get up, I would take a shower, shave, whatever, and put my clothes on like I'm about to go to, like I'm going to my fitness center and
right.
going to work or whatever, and be a normal day. And then, I get the procedures, I do everything they ask me to do, but the gown wasn't happening for me. So I get you, Phil.
Yeah, the gown is not it seems like, it should be something easy to do, but it's not. Like you said, man, the mindset is very important, because if you have the mindset that, something wrong, that could put you in the dumps right there from the beginning, as opposed to, okay, I'm fine, I'm gonna get through this no matter what outcomes happen after that, because I'm bro, when I say I'm the same way, I don't care how long I'm in the hospital. If I got a call like, hey man, bring me some more clothes so I can change or whatever.
Right.
I think the longest that I sit that I'll be in a row, maybe like the initial day, and that's just about it. Other than that, like I put, like you say, shower, put on my clothes and stuff like that. The only time, like I said, I'll take off, like if I got to go to X-ray and they need me to take it off,
right?
Or like I said, doing IV stuff like that, where it's gonna need to be a change of clothes or whatever. Then yeah, I'll do it then. But other than that, putting my shirt back on or my hoodie or my sweats or whatever I was wearing, and I had somebody bring me some extra clothes after that. But yeah, the gown is not the best thing for me. Like I would literally sit there until we need to put an IV in. I'm like, all right, cool. Now I'll take this off real quick, and then even then sometimes I even just like if I have a hoodie on, I'll put the hoodie on like over the gown. Like I said, I'm anemic, so I get cold real easy. But something what Tifiro just said, man, is your mindset. That can be the deciding factor on how you decide to come out of a situation where you're in the hospital. Because you're sitting there and all you can think about is, what ifs, as opposed to, saying, oh, I'm gonna be cool. Because you saying what if, blood pressure going up, blood sugar dropping, or whatever the case, all those things that matter before that they look at and take before they say you can, go home, or hey, we want to observe overnight. That type of stuff can be the deciding factor from them saying overnight observation compared to, okay, we're going to need you to stay for 2-3 days. And 2-3 days may seem like nothing, but then you get to like day 1.5 and you like, can I go home, please? Like for real, man. Just, I don't know anybody that likes to go to the hospital. I mean, you show me somebody that likes to go in the hospital, I don't know what to tell you about that person, but
you got some hypochondriacs that like going because they feel like they get the attention and stuff. But I think those people who do that aren't really sick for real. You be real sick, it ain't no pleasant thing, and you and I both experienced being very, very sick. So ain't no hypochondriac stuff. But yeah, I got
you. Definitely. All right, I'm gonna get back to this.
I feel great. I mean, you know how I feel.
I know.
I mean, staying here to that 20 or 30 days before my surgery.
Right.
Man,
that's a bit much, isn't it?
That's a lot. I mean, I know I said, what we talked about, but I don't think I can handle it.
You don't think you can handle it?
I'm not sitting in this room mentally. You know what I'm saying? And mentally is part of your health, too.
That's right. It's a big part of your health.
And I know staying in this room that long is going to make me depressed. So I know I don't
we can't have you depressed. You got to be excited before you get this.
That's what I'm talking about.
So you can't be depressed.
Right. Well, we can get started whenever you're ready.
Can you just tell me the plan again for Tifiro for today? What time are you guys calling for him for pheresis? You guys are ready right now. So somebody will be coming to get you.
I can walk. They want me in a wheelchair. That's cool.
You know how to play this hospital game. You know you do. They feel comfortable with you walking. I'll walk with you over there. So that's no big deal.
Tifiro now begins his first plasmapheresis treatment. All of the blood in his body, approximately 6 quarts, cycles through the machine. Passing through a centrifuge, the plasma is spun out and replaced with new plasma from a donor. It's in his plasma.
One more time. Hey, can you explain to everybody exactly the experience and how plasmapheresis, like what it does? Like I know they just kind of explained it, saying that your blood goes through it and it gets filtered, but like your experience with going through it, was it painful? What like did you get cold or like all that type of stuff? Like explain to them so they know what exactly it is, because to everybody else it just probably looks like hemodialysis. It's like he went from one place to another to go do dialysis. What's going on? But they know it's two completely different things.
Right. So plasmapheresis, like you heard him say in the beginning of the documentary. It's a grueling treatment. So this is 3.5 hours. Now, some people had to do it just 2.5 hours or 2 hours, or some people 45 minutes, and they were good. I had to do it for 3.5 hours, man. And it's very, very painful when they're separating the blood and the plasma. So it's a crazy feeling, man. And it's like soon as the machine starts, you're fine, and then it's about 15 minutes, and then it just hits you. You're very, very nauseated. You're nausea. You have to keep a bucket right beside you. And this is my experience. I was throwing up every time I did it. The internal pain is vicious because you literally feel a pull, and I guess it's the blood pulling from the plasma, and you can feel it pulling inside your body. And that's the only way I can explain it. And it was really, really painful. And then you go through these emotions where you're very, very cold, very, very cold. Like you got the chills, like super, super cold, because you feel this pull, like this separation going on in your body. And then all of a sudden you get very, very hot. And like I said, then all of a sudden you feel like you're nauseated again. So your body's going through all these emotions. And unlike dialysis, you saw me walking, I had my books in my hand, like, oh, okay. I'm thinking it's like dialysis where I could just read a book and they're doing this treatment. Nah, this treatment had me like going through emotions, man, where I was like sweating, hoping that, looking at the clock every 5 minutes, like, man, I hope when is this gonna get done? And you can go in there feeling good, and you come out of plasmapheresis, you feel like crap. That's all I got to say. And it's painful because of the pull. It's painful, and this is my experience. And sometimes I would go, and it wouldn't be painful, and I'd be like, okay, good, that's good. Hopefully, it's not painful no more. But then again, I go, and about 90% of the time I did plasmapheresis, it was grueling, and you're wore out at the end and everything. And they put new plasma in you. And it's crazy because the plasma they take out of you is in this big old bag. It's this big old bag of plasma that they throw. Either they look at it and stuff like that, or test it. I don't know, but it's in this big bag, and I can just say it's a grueling treatment for real. For me, it was.
That's interesting that you said you got hot as opposed to cold, because like and that
I would get
that's
cold and hot. Yeah, it was crazy.
that's a big indication that it's not the same as in-center hemo, because in-center hemo you getting cold ASAP. You need 18 blankets, a heater, all the fans off, like and for you to say that you got hot sometimes, it's like that's interesting to me to know that they're taking the blood out of you and you got hot, like and for it to
They're
go
separating it. It's not taking it
right.
out of you. They're separating it. So they separate the they separate the blood and the plasma. It's weird, man. And then my day looked like right after plasmapheresis for 3.5 hours, I would have to go to dialysis and go 4.5 hours of dialysis. And then as soon as I get done with that, I had to go 2.5 hours of a proteinase that to put back in me called cytogam. And that's what my day looked like.
You had a full job of treatment.
Full job, man. Full job.
You had, man, that's I mean, but I mean the stuff that you got to go through, man, when you want that kidney.
Straight up.
I mean, you'll do anything.
Plasmapheresis is almost like the goal right here with the high antibodies and stuff like that was almost like, okay, the foundation of the goal was we want to suppress his immune system and kind of make him sick. But even though I was still doing dialysis for over 10 years, and I was still a healthy dude, man. I was lifting weights, riding motorcycles, swimming, doing everything, real active, like she said. And then their goal was to make me sick, slip in a kidney, and then bring my antibodies and everything up with that kidney, with a new immune system. That was the goal that they were trying to accomplish. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. It's I'm actually glad that we're actually watching this, because I'm on my way back to the list coming up. My transplant education class will be coming up soon. I'll be scheduling that probably tomorrow, Tuesday. So my doctor is started the process of me getting back on the list, and I like you did 10 years. I'm on year 11 of doing dialysis.
I did 12, honestly, and I had to tell you that off camera and everything. But yeah, I got you, bro. It's a long time, and you at 11, right? Right now.
Yeah.
You're a trooper, man. You hardcore. You hardcore.
It's and the reason why I say I'm glad about it, because this is definitely a road that I would be if it had to, this is the way that I had to go.
Yeah, you might have to do some. You might have to do a little bit of plasmapheresis, and the crazy thing about it is your experience is going to be your experience. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where I could just tell you about my experience, and you could line up 5 or 6 other people, and they could tell you about their experiences. I could just tell you about mine. I was cold. I was hot. I was throwing up. I was nauseated. The only thing that soothed my stomach, man, was gum. I would chew gum. I would ask my nurse for gum. It just made and I tell you, man, I used to like kind of hum to myself, be like, just to make myself soothe.
Right.
It was so painful.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do to make it.
Literally, man.
You gotta
I
do
was
what
like,
you gotta do to make it.
yeah, I was soothing myself, trying to soothe myself because, you know, you wish, in this kind of game, you wish you could take a timeout and somebody could take your place for a minute. Then you go back in the game. But
Right.
this is all you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how tough can you, what you willing to endure, something like this. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. But it's at the end of the day, is what will you do to survive? Or at least
Yeah.
keep surviving, because a lot of patients, they do all the fighting, the dialysis, the hospital stays, and and all that stuff, and then they get to like you were saying, you was like, man, I don't want, I really don't, I don't know if I can do all this, but it was like, at that time, it's more or less got to think like, who knows if I get this opportunity again, and to keep fighting, man. It's like you did all the fighting to get to where you are, and then you want to, like, not you personally, but just saying in general, you just want to just say forget it. Like, that will make, I think anybody that we know that deals with any type of organ failure or transplant related illness, that fights, will still decide, just like you did, all right, let me just go ahead and do what I got to do so I can get this kidney, because
Right. And I was willing to do it. I was just telling them that, like, so I can get a little leeway. Like, hey, can I, on days I don't have treatment, can I take a break? Can I, go somewhere, do something, what I'm saying? Because, every day, you're doing these grueling ass treatments. I was, talking to them about, hey, can I get out the hospital for one day and just, look around the city, just get a breath of fresh air.
Right.
Seeing these 4 walls all the time. I was there almost for 60 days, like I said, and you seeing these 4 walls all the time. Hey, can somebody come get me and I could just, go to a little place just to see some people and just see some normal life. That's where I was
Right.
kind of like, I was down for the treatments. I ain't had no problems with that. I'm a soldier to this, but I was kind of like bidding for my time to look. Can I, on a day I don't have treatment, can I get out and just see the city a little bit, just see some, because when you sit in the hospital, man, you take this lot, you ain't taking nothing for granted. You happy just to get out the hospital and just look at people walking down the street. You be so happy to see people walk down the streets because they're just normal. It's like normal, seeing normal living. People working, people just living normal.
Right.
Because when you're in the hospital so long, normalcy is gone. You don't have any normalcy. So that's what I was really plotting for. Like, hey, can I get a little break? That's what I was saying that for. So that's basically it.
You know where I got my normalcy from? I used to still do this, how I get through my hospital stays, but I make friends with all the nurses,
I do too.
all the doctors, and I remember
even transportation. I was cool with the dudes who was walking me, I was cool with them on first name basis. I was there so long, and I got cool with everybody, and I get what you're saying, Phil. I go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you good. Settler, but like the dialysis techs, everything. Like I would know everybody on the floor. I know people that wasn't even on my floor, and it got to the point where the nurses would come in my room just to talk. Like they're like, I gotta get out. I gotta get from out there for a minute, and they come in there and do whatever work they had to do. Because all the computers, no matter if it's at a desk or in a room, is all connected to the same system, so they can all do all the same things on each computer. That's why you say, if the doctor says, okay, I'm gonna prescribe, this to you, go over to the computer in your room and do it, right? Because they can all do the same thing. So I've had nurses come in my room and they was just like, man, I just had to get away for a minute. And they'll be on, doing their work, whatever they got, prescriptions and, all that stuff. We'll just be having to talk and they'll be asking me about, how I got sick, with kidney disease and all that stuff. Because what's crazy is that I'm 31 years old, almost 32. And to this very day, man, over the past 11 years since I went into rejection and got back on dialysis, every time a nurse asks me what caused my kidneys to fail and I say post-strep, I always get the same remark. They always go, what? Because it's something that they don't hear often. It's like how they were just saying in the beginning of this, how your antibodies and stuff was the higher. They've never heard of a number like that before to that date, and who knows if it's even been reached to this date. But like they always give me the same remark, and I'm like, to this day I'm still kind of stuck. And I have some doctors I want to talk to, because I'm like, no matter if it's one person or 20, it's somebody has gone through pretty much everything. It's always all these things that at least known of have been seen or heard of or something, and they look at me like that's the one thing they just they know that it can happen, but have never heard the story before. And I'm like,
I mean, it's I'm gonna keep it real. When you first told me that, it threw me for a loop. I'm in that world, so I'm hearing about people with diabetes, hypertension, all kinds of, lupus, polycystic cancer, all these things I'm hearing on the usual. Every now and then you hear something that's unusual, but post-strep, that's very, very uncommon. I'm just gonna keep it real with you,
Right. And that's why I was asking you and Alex, when we had the interview with him about IgA nephropathy. I talked to my doctor about that as well, because I know you said that strep is something that can kind of, I guess kickstart that and stuff. And granted, I know that was when I was 4, but I wasn't going through that going through what I'm going through now at 4 either. So, I don't know if that's something that can come into an effect years down the line, or if that's something that just has to be going on at the same time, or what, or if that because that's what caused my sickness, it's always there, that, and it can cause it to happen. So, but I'll check in. I'm going to get back to this.
The Tifiro's antibodies can be found. The antibodies that must be removed over the next 3 weeks. The treatment takes more than 2 hours. Tifiro's journey towards transplant is underway. Now, samples of his blood will begin a long journey of their own.
Some will go to the main blood bank, and for his routine lab work, it'll go to the main regular lab. All of the specimens will go in the tube system.
And we pack them in here, and we put it in here, press the numbers, and it goes where it needs to be. We see anywhere up to 500 patients a day, so us receive it, and then I ship it off. we send a lot off.
More than 6,500 tubes land here in the core lab each day.
You lose count after the first hour because it's so many. We get a lot of tubes on a day. We have the HLA lab, we have DI, which is diagnostic immunology, we have customer service, microbiology, cytopathology, surgical. We just have so many places where we are responsible to make sure that no specimens get there.
It is precious cargo, all coded to avoid being lost. Samples that must be processed quickly to get results back to the doctors upstairs.
It's actually tubes of blood, urine specimens, stool specimens, name it. It all goes on the tube system.
Tifiro's blood arrives at the core lab. The samples are then carried by hand to a site outside of the hospital that deals with transplants. A place called the Immunogenetics Lab, where Julie Haupt and her team will process and analyze the blood.
One sample was drawn before pheresis, which will tell us where his antibody levels were prior to the pheresis treatment. And then another sample drawn after the entire treatment has been completed, which will tell us what effect that one treatment has had on his blood.
It is here that a crucial question will be answered. Is the treatment lowering Tifiro's antibody level?
Spin them down. Generally, it takes several treatments before we see a really significant reduction in antibody. But what we're hoping for is any reduction in the antibody. We're the fortune tellers. We're the ones who have the crystal ball, so to speak.
Today's sample has come late in the day and is prepared for cold storage overnight. Over the next 3 weeks, dozens of samples will arrive at this lab. Samples that will be analyzed to chart Tifiro's progress. If the antibody level remains high, Tifiro's body could reject the donor organ, and the swap would be called off.
We set the date for September 11th for this transplant. But in this case, if one of the pairs is not ready for transplant on September 11th, we push back. The logistics would be, a nightmare because you'd have to push back 6 ORs, 6 surgeons. It'd be literally almost impossible to do.
Tifiro's first plasmapheresis treatment is complete.
When patients are in this setting, there's a loss of control. And that loss of control can be very, very traumatic, especially for someone like Tifiro, who's used to being in control. So we've taken that away from him. We've stripped that, basically. And we're asking him to stay here and sit tight for a month so that he can be transplanted.
Mr. Cook, I've noticed that some people have just popped up to watch. Can you just kind of give a little explanation of exactly what we're watching so they kind of understand what's going on? I know they kind of missed some things from the beginning, and we're not that far into it, probably about 20-25 minutes, so it's still a ways to go. But can you just kind of, real quickly kind of let the newer viewers that just came in know exactly what's going on?
So right here, this is we're at Johns Hopkins, and I'm getting my second kidney transplant. It's an incompatible transplant. It's the 6th one that's ever done at Johns Hopkins. Right now, we're in the process of me doing a boatload of treatments called plasmapheresis. So I just did my first treatment, and as you can see, I walked to my first treatment. The second, as soon as I got that, I was in a wheelchair. Like, yeah, y'all need to wheel me in there because I'm telling you, man, I was so dizzy after that first treatment. It wasn't funny. I was like, what in the world? Then as many as they told me I had to do. So this is what they're doing right now. They're working me up right now to get the incompatible transplant, and I have very, very high antibodies. So the goal is to do plasmapheresis and several other treatments to bring my antibodies down, and that's where we are right now. So we're in the process of, I believe we're 2 or 3 weeks out from transplant. So that's where we are right now. Go ahead.
His antibody level right now is at 4,096. We need it to be at a level of 16 or less. So we have a long, long way to go.
Not a bad view.
2 weeks until transplant. Dr. Andrea Zachary, a director of the immunogenetics lab, has been summoned downstairs. The results of Tifiro Cook's first 7 treatments are in.
Yikes. This went back up.
Right.
That's a little scary.
Yeah.
After a week of steady decline, the level of antibody in Tifiro Cook's blood has risen. It's an unexpected result that could have major implications for both Tifiro and the upcoming transplant.
Well, at least he's nowhere near where he started. Okay. Once we start this treatment, we've made a commitment to go to transplant, because if you stop the treatment and don't do a transplant, the antibodies come roaring back. So the patient's really worse off at that point. When we're doing a swap like this, it's like a puzzle. All the pieces have to go together, or it falls apart.
The results are delivered to the hospital, where Dr. Montgomery has to break the news to his team.
So here's the deal with Tifiro. He he got daily plasmapheresis last week, and he had a great response. So we know he responds well to pheresis. But then, we didn't do pheresis over the weekend, and he rebounded back up to 1024. And I think that what we should do with Tifiro is to crescendo his pheresis.
Dr. Montgomery's decision is treatments 7 days a week from now until the surgery. Biology is fickle, though, and there's no guarantee that the move will work.
We probably ought to have a backup plan if he needs an extra couple of days of pheresis. Just kind of in the back of our minds what we might do.
We'll see what we can do.
I'm an optimist, the undying optimist. That's why I went into transplant surgery. And I think we'll be able to get Tifiro where we need him to be for the transplant. A little scary, but pretty confident.
Less than a week to transplant. Dr. Montgomery and his team assemble for rounds on Nelson 7. This morning brings an unwelcome surprise. Tifiro Cook is having a dangerous reaction to his increased treatments.
So he was out in the hallway shaking, and feels terrible, feels nauseated, seems to be having trouble with his calcium.
Calcium from 5 this morning is over 1, cyanized.
I think, though, that he may be going up and down fairly rapidly. How you doing? You feeling any better?
No, I can't eat really good. I'm getting nauseous, but I just feel real shaky.
Yeah. I'm afraid that your calcium may be changing fairly rapidly. This is a problem that we don't frequently see, but his calcium drops precipitously when he's on plasmapheresis, and it can be a serious thing. So we have to keep a very close eye on it. It can be life-threatening if his calcium got too low.
For Dr. Montgomery, the pressure is mounting. Tifiro must be ready by the day of the surgery.
Yeah, so unlike, as you can see, plasmapheresis again, I just want to elaborate on it, man. it's like, like the next day after you do hemo, like peritoneal dialysis, you kind of feel the same always with peritoneal because they're not messing with your blood. Your pH balance isn't getting too hit too hard because it's not messing with your blood. But with plasmapheresis, man, you feel when they're taking those antibodies out of your body, you feel so weak that like just holding a pencil and stuff like that, you're shaking, and it's like almost like you're cold inside, but it's like a bone cold. Like they're like, I don't know how to explain it. And I just want to, say about that. You don't have an appetite. You're nauseated. You're not feeling the best at all, man. So I just wanted to say that about that. But go ahead.
Surgery where the whole transplant falls apart. And downstairs, there's a new arrival. The recipient from Alaska.
We've had sort of captured Tifiro now for several weeks. Troy's now in the game.
Dr. Montgomery will be operating on Troy Cooklen himself. And the arrival of his patient signals a new phase of preparation for the surgery.
Now it's much more focused. It's like, hey, how am I going to do the operation? Start to go through the steps in my mind. What are the challenges going to be with each of the steps with Troy? Because everybody's different. Everybody's as different on the inside as they are on the outside.
The swap is fast approaching, and logistics take center stage.
Hey guys.
A last full staff meeting is the place to hammer out the details, locking in ORs, making sure the doctors and nurses all understand their assignments.
Does everybody realize the way we're going to do this is we're going to do a donor and a recipient in each room. So we're going to have 3 rooms rather than 6 rooms, but we're going to have 6 teams and 6 surgeons. So we'll take the kidney out, put it on ice, take the donor out, bring the recipient in, and do the transplant.
Donor Jacqueline Downey and her recipient will be in the first operating room. In the second OR, the surgeries on Ray Vidic and Tifiro Cook will be performed. Dr. Montgomery will be in the third OR, operating on the highest risk patient, Troy Cooklen.
He has been on dialysis a long time. He's got a lot of comorbid conditions, so he's going to be a bit challenging. Of all of them, I think he's probably the sickest.
I can feel my body on dialysis getting weaker. With a good transplant, I'm going to bounce back. I feel like I have one shot at this thing, and that's going to be Dr. Montgomery doing the surgery.
Dr. Montgomery has one final stop in his day, to take another look at Troy and size up the challenge ahead.
The situation with your abdomen is a little bit awkward in terms of deciding exactly where to land this kidney. Troy is very complicated. He had this problem where they had to take his colon out, and that's kind of right where I want to put the kidney.
Another major concern is that Troy has been on the steroid prednisone for more than 20 years.
Troy has been on steroids for a very long time, and steroids kind of weaken the tissue, and I know his skin is in his tissue below the skin. It's going to be very fragile. Well, we'll scratch our heads and come up with the best thing for you.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
All right. See you in the morning.
Okay. All right.
The hour is here to finally, decide exactly how I'm going to approach it.
Downstairs, Tifiro is finishing yet another plasmapheresis treatment. His calcium problem has gotten better, but the grind of the daily schedule has taken its toll.
Their goal is to get my antibodies down to a certain level, which I understand because that's the goal we all want. But I have to go through all that. It's easy to write down, okay, he needs this many plasmapheresis. He needs to do dialysis like this. But I have to get stuck with those needles. I have to have this medicine going in. So while you're talking about it, I'm living. And in turn, all those things I'm doing, I'm getting sick. When you get sick, after 5 minutes you've been well, that's an emotional ride. Sometimes when you get off the machine, you feel like crap. You just feel like somebody just drained the life out of you, which it does. Sometimes you can feel better.
You're welcome. Do you have enough?
I don't have any. I'm adding a little later.
See if that's a full pack. Bring me some more.
This is
But a bit help?
Thank you. Thank you.
Need a share?
Yes. It's all for the cause, and I understand. You know, I'm not complaining at all. I'm a trooper. I'm down for whatever I got to do to get a kidney.
You okay?
I feel a lot better.
Yeah. No chills or fever.
I feel a lot better right now. Just did it all wrong.
Okay. All right. We'll just keep you close time.
Sir.
All right. Good.
If things stay on course, Tifiro will have a new kidney in just 4 days.
Surgery's here. When you guys first saw me, it was 2 or 3 weeks away. It's here. I mean, it's Friday. Next Tuesday is when they're getting busy.
Morning at Nelson 7. The start of a day Troy Coughlin has been looking forward to for years.
It's just the day before surgery, so it's just kind of hit me. Hopefully, it's almost too much to hope for, but the hope is I won't have to do dialysis ever again.
Away we go.
As Troy heads off to his last dialysis, down the hall, Tifiro Cook's day is getting off to a rough start. He's having a reaction to a new round of medications that are preparing him for the transplant.
I mean, it's just the medicines they got me on is just taking its toll. I mean, I knew it was going to happen. Now it's happening.
Oh, okay.
It is what it is.
For Tifiro, it is the last day on a long road. Behind the scenes, though, things have taken an unexpected turn.
That doesn't look good.
Nurses Hiller and Lawson learn of a result that came in over the weekend. Tifiro's antibody level has stopped dropping.
Tifiro's antibody is still AHG titer of 64.
Another blood test will be performed after Tifiro's pheresis today, but Nurse Hiller has to prepare for any eventuality.
If we have to put him off, Tifiro off for a little while.
Well then, but we would still have to keep maintaining him. Like,
Yeah.
what about his pheresis and all?
We'd have to keep doing it. Well, it's after 9, so let's call Montgomery and see what he wants to do. Bob? Hi, it's Janet. What are we gonna do with Tifiro? I heard he's not coming down. Okay. Right. Okay, sounds good. Bye. Okay. Did you hear that?
Sorry, I'm listening.
Yeah, so he thinks we probably would do it.
Dr. Montgomery has set the mark at 32, a target that must be hit after today's treatment. And Tifiro has no idea of the drama unfolding behind the scenes.
He's a little groggier than usual because he got some Benadryl at the beginning of his procedure. So he's definitely seen better days.
This is his 18th treatment today. Normally, he'd have maybe 3, 4, 5, 7. We had to do him every day, just about. And from what's going on now, we'll even be doing him tomorrow morning before surgery. It's one of those things that's taking its toll on him. He'll be glad when tomorrow's over, I'm sure.
I'm sorry, I gotta stop right there because I can't stop laughing.
Yeah.
But I know the one thing that a lot of people are probably saying has never experienced the Benadryl through IV. It's not your regular at home over the counter Benadryl. It's like that times 50. Like, people say all the time, if I take Benadryl, I get sleepy. Yeah, it ain't really the same sleepy when you get it in the hospital. That Benadryl is a lot more powerful. And I did the same laughing like a couple of people that are probably watching. I remember when I first got my first IV Benadryl, it was right after I had my brain surgery, and they were trying to figure out a different way to ease my pain without giving me narcotics. So they decided to go to cocktail, and it was the IV Benadryl, I think Tylenol, and something else, right? And I remember the doctor said, okay, the Benadryl is gonna make you, a little sleepy. I'm like, I done had high doses of Dilaudid before, so Benadryl ain't gonna do nothing. That it's what it is. So went through the day, got to the nighttime, and my nurse was like, hey, are you ready for your cocktail? I'm like, yeah, we can do it now. And I remember I was on my at the time I didn't have the laptop I've had in the past. That was 11 years ago, and I remember the nurse was like, okay, this Benadryl is gonna make you a little sleepy. I'm like, I ain't worried about no sleepy. I can fight sleep, right? Man, that nurse gave me that Benadryl. First off, before it made me sleepy, it burned the hell out of me. It burned all the way up, like as it was going in my vein, it burned as it was going up. So my whole arm was on fire, right? The whole time it's moving and getting in my system. But as soon as all of it got in there, I was out like a light. All I remember was the next morning, I woke up, but like, how sometimes you wake up, but your eyes don't open, but you're up. And I was like, I didn't want to open my eyes because I was afraid that I knocked the laptop off the tray. Because I know sometimes I sleep stupid. So, I'm like, I didn't even want to open my eyes because I'm like, I know this laptop ain't on the tray no more. I mean, that was the first time I've ever had Benadryl, and it was, man, insane. So I understand. I could look at your face. You was like, what is going on in here?
Yeah, man, I was like I said though, even what's crazy is like the gentleman said, he said he heard that most people do 7 at the most,
right?
And seven will beat you down, and I'm at 18 right now, so and that's just half of what I did. But we continue on. Let's
Yes, sir.
You all right, buddy? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Back upstairs, Dr. Montgomery and Nurse Hiller are sizing up the situation, considering a plan B.
Do you think we could get a cross match done today? Where do these people live? Because
the options on the table are to continue as planned, delay the surgery, or bring in a new pair for tomorrow's swan.
Well, I think we should hope for the best, but start to put these pieces in place.
Until the final blood test is in, every possibility is in play for the Hopkins transplant team, and the scramble is on. Nurse Janet Hiller heads back downstairs to continue working on an alternate pair for tomorrow's transplant, to lay the groundwork for Plan B. Meanwhile, Nurse Nikki Lawson sets off in a different direction, into the hospital.
These are our coolers for tomorrow. The kidneys will go in here while the room is being cleaned and taken down for the recipients to come in. Just a regular old cooler.
But third member of the coordinating team, Nurse Kathy Dane, heads off in an entirely different direction. To patient check-in, where Ray Vidic and his family have just arrived from Alaska.
I thought, well, I haven't seen you in a year. I'm gonna have to.
That's my daughter Taylor.
At this point, we're waiting on the final post-treatment antibody levels. In the meantime, we have to continue to move on as if everything's going to go forward tomorrow. So that's basically, what I'm doing, speaking with the operating room staff, getting scrubs, getting everything ready as if we're going, because we have to do that.
Upstairs, Tifiro is feeling better and has begun his last dialysis.
The very last dialysis. Counting down the minutes. Been doing this for a long time. So tomorrow will be a new way of life.
All right, well, let's see what, maybe this is the, hello?
Back downstairs, the results from Tifiro's last blood sample are in.
Do they have an answer? All right, I'll be right up.
It's kind of funny because people I talk to, they go, how you doing? And, I can't even elaborate on what I'm going through because it's so far over their heads. I don't even try to elaborate. I just say, well, I'm going through a lot, and I just leave it at that. I've been living on a machine or some type of mechanism for 10 years just to stay alive, for 10 years. Only thing you can do is take a day at a time. That's all you can do. You can just have a good day. And after that, the next day, just try to have another good day. And after that, just try to have another good day.
Uh-huh. So, is it good news?
I was in my room the other night, and I was like, goodness, I'm about to get a kidney transplant. I never even thought that far. I always thought to the next day. If it happens, it happens. I always thought next day. Man. Slot. Slot, man. Slot. Try to be strong.
That's where.
Dr. Montgomery's target antibody level is 32.
So that post is 128, so it's higher. Why the hell is that happening? Well, so it's not going to happen for tomorrow. For Tifiro. I don't understand why it went up.
Tomorrow's operation has fallen apart for Tifiro. But there are 4 other people in the swamp. 2 of them already in the hospital. Plan B must become a reality.
The show must go on.
The Hopkins team attempts something they've never done before. Reconstruct a swab.
Give to him.
Not in a month or a week, but in a matter of hours.
Let's call these 2 first.
Nurse Janet Hiller spent the morning identifying alternates for this very moment.
All right, this is good. Single vessel.
Now, the team hits the phones. Nurse Kathy Dane is the first to get through to a potential replacement pair.
Let me ask you this. We were in the process of setting up an exchange, and we ran into some difficulty. You and Jean, you actually are a good match for these other 2 that are in the exchange. And that's why we're calling to see if by chance you would be available for us to move forward with that. And you are. Would you be? Now, I'm not giving you a lot of time. We'd like to do it this week. Yeah.
The three-way swap fell apart, and now it's put back together. The new date, September 13th.
So if we take out Tifiro and his donor and substitute the other pair, that can go ahead sometime in the next couple days. And the other pair is cleared, ready to go.
Right.
We can have them fly up tomorrow.
Right.
I think we should just go ahead and tell them, come on up tomorrow.
Dr. Montgomery now sets off for his last task on a very long day.
Well, there's been a little bit of a hitch. Hey, Troy, how are you?
To tell the patients about the change.
We've had a little bit of a monkey wrench thrown into the whole deal for tomorrow.
Surgery tomorrow is going to be a lot like it was in 1993, I'm sure. Okay, so what we're going to do, the doctors will meet you in the pre-op area.
I'm pretty concerned that Tifiro's going to hear that we're canceled. Because there's a lot of people, a lot of buzz. Hey man, how you doing? Right. Feel all right? Feel better? I've got sort of bad news, good news. Believe it or not, your antibodies actually went up today, pretty significantly. My feeling is that we're reaching the point where we're beating a dead horse, I think. And so we began to look at some other options. And we were able to identify another swap.
On paper, Dr. Montgomery and his team have been able to identify the possibility of a new swap involving Tifiro and his donor.
Thing is, like the triple was like real. We had it in hand.
Right.
This other one,
it's not in hand yet.
It's not in hand yet. But we've talked to.
It will take at least 2 weeks to pull together.
Yeah, you talk to my mom and them up in the room. Yeah. They're up in my room. Can we go up there so we can explain this to them?
Okay.
Yeah, let's do this.
All right. I mean, push you or you want to go?
You can push me. I've been through a lot of that.
At long last, Hopkins enters the final countdown to transplant. And nearly a full day of prep is required for the surgery. The three-way swap will be performed in a wing of Hopkins called the General Operating Rooms, or GOR. There are 38 rooms here and dozens of surgeons and staff performing every type of operation. This surgery, though, is like no other. It's a transplant that requires the use of 3 rooms at once. At 8:45 a.m., donors will be wheeled into rooms 1, 5, and 11. Approximately 4 hours later, the recipients will be wheeled into the same rooms for the transplants. It's a highly choreographed procedure that will involve more than 60 people. The prep begins in a back room, never seen by the patients. And the carts for tomorrow's transplants are just being assembled.
Okay, like we had the catheters, we have to pull the catheters, staplers, and we have to pull the linen that goes with it. We are the beginning for all procedures. We have the Synthi gloves, we have the Hydro gloves, and the sterile gloves. We have sizes from small, medium, large to extra large.
There are nearly 4,000 items. from 3-cent needles to heart surgery equipment costing more than $68,000. Everything needed to perform any kind of surgery can be found here.
What I'm about to do now is scan out the instruments that is going to OR5 for tomorrow. That case card is now 100% and that procedure is done. Now I go on to the next case. Thank you, guys.
Dr. Montgomery assembles the surgical team for today's transplant. He's finalizing his options on a location for Troy's new kidney and looks to his colleagues for advice.
So my thought is to make an incision like this. There are a number of different approaches to Troy's abdomen. None of them are perfect. So it's sort of going to be, choosing the best of all the evils. All right, be careful out there.
The Hopkins GOR comes to life.
So that's sterile. Do mean sterile. And don't touch. Each doctor has a card that says, this is what I need for these surgeries. So upstairs, everything was pulled for each specific doctor.
Before the operation can start, the nurses take an inventory of all the equipment.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's called counting in and will be repeated at the end of the surgery to make sure nothing's been left inside the patient.
7, 8, 9.
8:45 a.m.
You have them? Yeah, very.
Ray Vidic from Alaska and the other donors are rolled in. Now, Montgomery takes on his role as conductor, making sure that every note is hit in the right pitch and at the right time.
Hey, Ray. Dr. Montgomery. Good to see you, man. Have a good sleep, all right? It's very important that we put all the donors to sleep at the same time.
Nice slow.
So nobody decides at the last minute that they don't want to go forward with it, and then we have 2 other people who, are already asleep or getting incisions made. So we try to coordinate that as well as possible. So it looks like they've just gone to sleep here. It's like we're almost ready.
The first half of the swab, the extraction, begins. A tiny camera is inserted into the donor, the surgeon's eyes for the delicate operation.
The donor is a person who's undergoing an operation for someone else. It's unique to all of surgery. The safety of the donor is of utmost importance.
These coolers in the ORs where they've been requested.
After approximately 2 hours, Nurse Hiller gets the call. The kidneys are ready for extraction.
The critical period of time is once we interrupt the blood flow to the kidney and it's still warm, then it's metabolically active and it's wanting oxygen, it's wanting blood. Okay, so we're putting the kidney in a bag. Camera out, gas off, lights on. You can't make any rookie mistakes with these patients. You have one shot. I don't get nervous, I get meticulous. But this has gone very smoothly.
It's gorgeous. That's what I think. And we're here, ready to go.
So this is it. The first half is done.
With all the kidneys out, time is now of the essence. The rooms need to be cleaned and reset quickly because the longer the kidney sits out, the greater the chance of damage to it. OR 11 is nearly ready, and Troy Cook waits outside.
kind of anxious to get in there. I'll put my faith in Dr. Montgomery and get through this.
This is what I do every day. But for these 6 people, you know, this is the most important moment in their lives. It's time for me to sew this kidney in. And so the rest of the world just sort of goes away. And I change my roles, you know, as from a conductor to a musician. Now I actually get to play my instrument.
The second part of the surgery, the transplant, is ready to begin. With the mark of a pen, the operation is underway. Now all 3 of the transplants are in progress. In OR 11, Dr. Montgomery's first incision confirms the fragile state of Troy's skin.
As we suspected, his tissue just literally falls apart.
Dr. Montgomery proceeds with caution. A mishandled scalpel could result in massive internal bleeding. It takes 2 hours to reach the goal, and the kidney is prepared for implant.
We found a spot. Wasn't terribly easy to get into. Now, once again, time counts, so we want to try to sew it in as quickly as we can. Quickly and carefully.
The moment has come. The kidney is sewn in.
Okay, you see the kidney in there? Yeah, it's white, pale, lifeless.
Now, the question is whether it will come to life.
Isn't that incredible?
The blood starts to flow, and the kidney turns a healthy pink.
Never get tired of seeing that. It's like the first time, every time. Your urine coming out?
Yeah, nice on her foot.
It's better to be pissed on than pissed off.
Nearly 9 hours after it began, the swap is a success.
2, 3.
The only thing remaining is counting out, making sure all of the tools are present and accounted for.
Needles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cokers 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything's back. Nothing's left. That's good. Nothing in the patient except his new kidney.
Thank you, everybody. It's been a great day. We did some good things today. But, yeah, I'm pretty exhausted last few days. Physically and the ups and downs. Yeah. So, I'll go home and get some sleep and we'll start it all over again tomorrow.
I have the coolers where the kidneys were. So we're gonna take them back to the office now because they're done. Yay! You can save them for next time.
The Matthews and the pair that replaced Tifiro were all discharged and have fully recovered. Ray Vidic and his family stayed in Baltimore for 5 days before returning to Alaska. Troy Cook's transplant was a success. The kidney worked. But 2 months after the surgery, Troy still hadn't healed and remained in the hospital. Prognosis unclear.
I just saw Nikki, and she told me that she's going to do it for the 29th. That's cool. So that's the new date. So I'm going to go home tomorrow, and I'll be back in about 2 weeks.
Tifiro Cook continued plasmapheresis for 2 weeks, awaiting his transplant. His donor, Jacqueline, returned home to Ohio.
You putting on them shoes like you're going somewhere. Going jogging?
I might have to sprint around this hospital.
Okay. You're tired of uptight, like you on your way out of here.
I'll see you guys later.
All right. Be nice to the nurses tomorrow. Okay.
2 weeks became 4, and a month became 2. But then, on November 19th, Jacqueline returned for a new swab. And Tifiro Cook received a transplant.
Wow, that's every time I look at it, I'll be like, "Dang, was that me in there?" That's crazy. But one thing I do like about it was how detailed National Geographic was, man, with showing everybody in the hospitals and how the surgeries are performed, and a lot of times people don't get to see that, and that's what I really like about the detail of the documentary, to see that. But yeah, it's pretty good, man. They captured everything. It was it was really emotional to feel like you're about to get a transplant, and then it falls through. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. You and I talk about it and everything, but overall, John Hopkins is a wonderful place. Shell was there getting her transplant. You hear me always recommending, anybody that has any kind of challenges that are a little bit different, like mine, probably like Alex. Hopkins is the place to be. Some kind of hospital like that. There, and then you have Ohio State too, which is good, in Tampa General, UCLA. You have several of them that are very thorough in what they do, and and the technology is getting better and better with transplants and stuff like that, and the things they can do is remarkable. So, like I said, I love the documentary. I watch it every time, and it didn't trip out that it was me going through that and everything. But like a lot of plasmapheresis I did, as you can see, it was a lot of stuff, going on with me. So, but hey, I'm here. I'm happy. I'm successful. I'm healthy. I'm got kidney care coaches banging, so we're doing our thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's two things I do want to well, now it's one because the other one just left my mind. But um earlier we were talking about mindset, and how you deal with things. And um before I get to my question, it was funny when they just showed, was that your mom or was that Jackie? It was like, you putting those shoes on like you going somewhere.
That was Jackie. Like I
Jack-
said, man, I put my clothes on every day. I had treatments and everything, but I got to be. I don't know. I just always had to feel like my goal was, I was in the hospital all the time. So my goal was to just feel normal. Even though I
right.
got IVs in my arm and all these things and stuff like that, going through all these treatments, I still wanted to feel some normalcy. And just talking to new people, talking to new patients, it was crazy, man. Because even though I'm in there doing all these treatments, it would be new patients coming in, and the doctors would come get me and be like, "Hey, we want you to come down here and talk to this guy, talk to this girl getting a kidney and stuff like that." And I would, hey, I'm going through the same thing you going through, but they felt my energy that was positive and strong. And I'll talk to them, and was trying to calm them down, like, "Hey, is everything gonna be all right? This. I had one lady that was talking to me like, what you doing in here?" I'm like, "Well, I'm about to get a transplant too." She's like, "That's amazing. You talking to me about getting a transplant, and you about to get a transplant." So
Right.
that was kind of wild too. But yeah.
Yeah, that actually happened to me. Dr. Edinger did that, about 2 or 3 times after I had mine. I was going to post clinics and stuff, and he's like, "Can you go down the hall and talk to this person?" And I'm like, "You realize I just went through the same thing that person is about to go through, right?" Like, but it was cool because to me, I see it like this: if somebody sees you I guess you, for the time being, so if you're sitting there trying to think of a word for 15 minutes, eligible enough to talk to somebody in that type of capacity, you're doing something right with your life and who you are as a person. You know, otherwise they wouldn't even bother, you know, asking you to go talk to somebody if they didn't think that it was something that you can do and be helpful with doing it. So, but my question is, like I said, since we were talking about mindset earlier, where exactly did your mindset go when the doctor came in there and told you that they were going with a different swap? Like they were taking you out and putting somebody else in? Because I know, you know, like you were saying, you know, you take it one day at a time. You know, you think, you know, you don't even think about the next day till you get to the next day. And you get to the point where it's like, damn, you know, like you said, like I'm having a transplant tomorrow. And then you look up and you ain't having a transplant tomorrow. You know, you have it in weeks, months from now, and it's like, you know, like what is that? Like, what do you have to do with your mindset to get back into the group? Because you got to reset all over again at that point. You know, you got to go through plasmapheresis again and dialysis and stuff you thought was about to be way back there. You was like, man, I ain't about to think about this unless I got to speak somewhere or talk to somebody. I don't want to look at a dialysis machine. Oh, that was the other thing. Your dialysis machine. You talking about technology evolving, and I was like, I wonder how many people watching this looking at that machine and going, exactly when did this get filmed for that machine? Because it looks like if they ever had a hand done dialysis machine, that was the first electronic one that they made.
They don't even look like that no more. They don't even look like
They
that.
don't. I mean, it's the same function, you know, to turn it. All of it's just constructed a lot different now. It
More
looks
efficient
different.
now. More efficient.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, the first part of it was like, you know, this build up. Okay, you about to be done with this. You know, you about to move on to another life. You heard me saying, you know, hey, I'm about to go to another different part of my life. You know, doing this, and then, you know, they come in. Dr. Montgomery came in and told me, you know, he straight up, you know, he's like, hey, your titers didn't come down. It got down to 128, which we thought was, you know, good, but not good enough. You know, we needed you down to, really, they needed me down to 16, and they were shooting for 32. They were even telling me that day, you know, they was like, we're going to have to set your transplant back a little bit farther because we're going to have you do plasmapheresis the day of the transplant. Then slip the kidney in. That was their goal. So, you know, my mindset was, I'm so happy. Then, you know, I had this letdown, like, and I really wasn't let down because it sounded like a letdown, but my mind was like, I'm still good. I know it sounds crazy and everything. I was happy that I was about to get a transplant, but I was still like, well, if I got to go back home and be on dialysis and stuff like that, I'm still gonna be okay. You know, I always felt like I'm gonna be all right. You know, that's my faith. That's my strength in me, and I mean, I didn't. I broke down because you know all the stuff I've been going through. But when I heard that, you know, and I wasn't shocked because you know they was telling me in so many words. They didn't want me to know too much about the titers. You know, the first week when I started doing plasmapheresis, they were very, very happy because the titers dropped significant. Then a couple of days, they said, okay, we're gonna give you a break for 2 days. So they gave me a break on Saturday and Sunday. And they come back Monday, man, they take my blood and they're like, oh, these titers went back up significantly. So that's when they said we're going to crescendo. That means they're going to
make every day.
Every day. Yeah. And that was, I'm telling you, man, that was a blowout. You hear me, dude? I was like everyday dialysis, everyday plasmapheresis, everyday site again. And I was slowly dwindling away. You know, I had no appetite and nothing. And I'm looking at the doctors like, y'all think I can really do this? And they was like, yeah, we think you can really do this. And I had to really pump myself up. You pump yourself up for athletics and all these things, you know, big tests and stuff like that. But this was this was the biggest mental test that you had to pump yourself up for. Like, okay, you got to do all these treatments. And the reason, I kept on looking at the bright side. Like the bright side is I'm gonna be healthy. I'm gonna get, I ain't got to do this no more. And that's what I kept on looking at. But there was a slight letdown because I was thinking, I'm gonna get this transplant and be on with my life. But no, it didn't happen like that. I had to wait for a while. You know, probably more. It was more almost like 6 months. So that's when I was on my 10-year anniversary. So I said I did almost close to 11 something because it waited. It was longer than a little bit longer than that. But it was a letdown. But I stayed positive. I was like, look, I always felt like I'm gonna be okay, even if I had to do dialysis for the rest of my life. I felt like I was gonna be good. But they called me back, man. Like, hey, we got a perfect match for you, and I had to go out there and receive the kidney, and I was back up there, and I was happy, man. So yeah, that's how it works.
So and you just kind of hit something on the head, man. You were saying that you was kind of withering away, but I mean, this is something that I don't want to say. I'm gonna tell you something like you don't know this, but the reason why you're able to, and this is more or less for people watching this now and later, but the reason why you're able to do this is go through what you went through and still make it and keep fighting was one of the most important things that any person that's looking to do a transplant do. You were in shape.
I was in shape. You saw me.
Even while on dialysis, man, you were going to the, doing your gym stuff, doing your
and I would go to
fitness studio.
Yep, I would go. Hey, you see my arm taped up from dialysis. I go bang weights. I would go bang because it made me feel normal. And another thing it made me do was it gave me an appetite. Because a lot of times when you're on dialysis, you don't have no appetite, whether it's peritoneal or hemo. And so by lifting weights, it always gave me an appetite. It made me want to eat. And people be like this, they be like, how'd you muster up the strength to go do dialysis? Go do lifting weights and train people after you did dialysis on that day. And I still have to question myself, like, I don't know what made me do that. Because people, man, doing hemo is a different ball game than peritoneal as far as how you feel afterwards. After you feel on hemo, you feel wiped.
Right.
I had the most, and I still would muster up the strength to get to my fitness studio and still, train people. My boy Barry, he was doing, bodybuilding shows. I was helping him with that. He'd be like, "Hey man, let's work these legs." But I just did 4.5 hours of dialysis, and then I'm squat. I squat right after. So I'm like, I don't know how I did it, man. Shoot, that was some. I look at anybody else right now who's doing dialysis and then go squat weights and stuff after dialysis. You my hero.
Hey man,
I'm my own hero. I'll keep it real. I ain't bragging, but I did it. It's official. I mean, I don't know how I did it, man, but I did it, man. I don't know.
I got one for it. It's not lifting weights, but it's close and it's up there. Friend of mine, Joe Long, man. His name is that he likes to be called Joe. Does I think about 4 or 5 hours of in-center hemo every other day, but he'll come home, take about an hour rest, and come out and go start working on his truck because he's a truck driver. Just started his LLC for his own truck company. He had some situation in his past where his old one, some things happened with that one, so he started his own. Separated from the person that he was part of with in the beginning, and started his own. Just bought his new truck this past weekend and stuff, man. And he goes to dialysis 3 times a week. He'll come out, like I said, take about an hour or two rest, go out there, make sure it's stuck together so he can go get on the road, to take his load wherever it's going. And he's in Georgia.
I think you tap into. You just got to do what you got to do. I had my own fitness studio, and my boy, he was my business partner, but I was the boss, so I had to go in there and take care of bills, take care of our insurance, take care of our clients, and so it was crazy living in this fitness world and then living in this dialysis world too. Sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. You told me, you play football while on there, so sometimes you got to do. I don't know, man. We muster up this strength. And it's crazy because you think, man, I can't. There's no way in the world you can do it. You put your mind to it, you can do it. You know I'm talking
Staying in shape. That's the other
about. I
thing
stayed
too,
in shape.
because
Yep.
trust me, I know. But keep the body in that type of condition, it helps to be able to push through that. Like right now, like when I started back on dialysis in 2010, I wasn't working out like I was in 2006 when I went on PD the first time, right? So in the in the beginning, I went through some things that kind of threw everything off for me. I was pretty much in the hospital for like real close to about three months consecutively, almost. I went on dialysis August 2010, was in there for about 3 weeks.
I think you froze.
Okay. Well, while we're back, I guess we can go ahead and stop our yapping and we'll definitely come back to all this stuff in this conversation about incompatible donation and stuff for sure. Definitely something that we're going to touch on along with some other things that we have coming up that we'll probably make an announcement on in about a week or so. Some things that we're very excited to be doing in the next month or so. So definitely look for that. I'll post something to kind of remind you guys to tune in to look for that announcement. We've been working on that for about the past 3 weeks now, almost a month, trying to put it together. So it's very exciting. Hey man, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely proud of us. I mean, the number of us that are in this to put it together and pull it off. I mean, it's not like it's not something that we can't do. We're very intelligent with what we're doing. We're very informed. So but it's definitely going to be great for the community. So look for that. Like I said, probably next week on Sunday. After that show, we'll make that announcement. Next week, actually, we'll have my dad on the 26th, and then we'll have Edward Drake co-hosting with us for that interview as well, and we'll get his perspective of having to take care of me when I was younger and stuff, and I mean, even though I'm 31, he still takes care of me.
I heard that, man.
He's a father, and I couldn't ask for a better one. So very appreciative that he and honestly, he came to me and was like, "Hey man, whenever you want me to come on, I come on." And I was like, and did it immediately. Honestly, I didn't think he would want to. He's never been that type of person that at least that I thought. So but very grateful that he decided to come on, man, and tell his side of that story, because it's important to get the side of parents, going through this, no matter what your age is. So because they still have to go through this with you if they're here on this earth. So appreciate them for coming on. Again, congratulations to Shell, got her kidney.
Yes, congratulations.
In recovery at the very same John Hopkins in recovery right now. Doing her thing. She, all the right things are going on. Creatinine going down, BUN going down. Urination and all that stuff is going great. So,
hey, congratulations to her for sure. Congratulations to my boy Brad Jordan, the legendary Scarface. Him and his son Christopher just got a kidney transplant. I talked to Brad today. I talk to Brad every day. That's my cat. So I talked to him. He's doing wonderful. They took out the catheter. They took out the the CDC line in his chest, so he's doing good. He's just adjusting to the medications and everything. But the H-Town legend is doing wonderful. Just wanted to shout out to my boy Scarface.
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. That's definitely deserving, man. He fights just like everybody else does that goes through this. So great to see that he's him and his son are doing well.
Yeah,
Making
Christopher's doing good.
this process.
We're gonna see if we can get Christopher on the show, man. He's been jammed up and everything. He wants to do a big thing with organ donation, especially for people in the community and everything. So definitely when he gets well, he's still recovering. I talked to him today. He was in Brad's he was in Face's massage chair, relaxing and everything. So our goal is to get him on our show too, for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. In time, man. Take it slow as we need to for him to make sure that he's straight the way he is. And shout out to all our Why Not family.
Why Not in the house? Why
supporting.
not?
And
Jonathan Trailer, thanks for the shout out. We appreciate it. Hope with Jonathan, my man.
So we will see you all next week on Sunday for sure. Same time. We apologize for the mishaps earlier in the show. We even though I know what I'm doing, I got to show Mr. Cook this stuff
yeah,
too.
man, you got to school me, dog. You try to. We get live, and you try to teach me how to do something.
Well, I wasn't planning on having a mess up in signals either. So
mad at you, brother.
gotta do what we gotta do sometimes.
Right. I just got to get a tutorial from you on how to do things so we can be looking a little bit more professional. But shout out to you, man. You're doing your thing. I'm proud of you. Second Chance is banging. Proud to serve kidney care coaches. Hope with Jonathan. Why Not Foundation. Everybody's doing their part, man. In this world, we're trying to move the needle for organ transplant patients in any form and fashion. So that's all I got to say.
Most definitely. So, like I said again, thank you all for coming through. If you watch for 10 seconds, 10 minutes, an hour, we appreciate the support. Definitely, if you can, go back and watch the replay. And check it out, all the input and information I was given along with the video. And we appreciate you. Thank you.
On YouTube, shoot those comments through, man. The Second Chance or whatever, and we'll try to answer your questions as much as possible. Shoot those questions through. We love to hear the feedback from you guys, for sure.
Yeah, YouTube, Facebook. Kidney Care Coaches on Facebook. Second Chance Show on Facebook or on YouTube. Put those questions down there. We'll definitely answer them to the best of our ability. If we don't know, we'll find somebody that does and get that information for you.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's what one of the main things about what we do is making sure that we can inform people and be educational to everybody that wants this information. So, if you don't want to leave a comment, email us, message us on Facebook, whatever you got to do. If you got our number, text us, whatever. We're here to help not only the transplant community, the people who are outside the community in prevention. So definitely get in touch with us, and we'll be here for that. So again, appreciate you guys' support, and we'll see you guys next Sunday on the 26th. You guys have a great night.